the second day of our international workshop cum seminar on different Asian schools of Raja Yoga for human excellence. Uh, at first, I felt sorry because we are late by half an hour. Because due to some problems, our chairperson of this session of paper presentations of international paper presentation is late. We are waiting for him. But right now, we requested uh, our respected Swami Nitya Yoganandaji to chair this session of this international paper presentation. And I am thankful to all the participants here. They had come on time, but we are late. So we are starting the day with a note that again we are very humble that the God has taken us and given us the opportunity to serve this sort of work so that we can spread the essence of yoga and we can communicate with the peoples who are searching this sort of truth and we want to learn. This organization Rhythm Harabragga is a vivid learner. All its effort is to learn. So we are second day, we are welcoming our international participants. They are from Japan, they are from Myanmar, Cambodia, Vietnam. They will give their respective presentation with their introduction. I am requesting our yoga teacher, well-wisher, Ms. Ranjana Ranjana Sinha, to start the day with a chanting.
Sangathatvam Sangvadatvam Sangvo Manamsi Janatam Deva Bhagam Yatha Purve Sangyana Upasate Sangyana upasate Sangyana upasate Om Shanti 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 Pratasmarami hridhi samsphuradatmatattvam Satchit sukham paramaham sagatim turiyam Yasapna jagara sushuptamavaiti nityam Yabrahma nishkalamaha Naja bhuta sanghaha Om bhadram karnebhi shrunayama deva Bhadram pashyemakshaviryajatraha Sthirairangaistushtuvam swastanubhihi Vashyama devahitam yadayu Om swasti na indro vriddasravaha Swasti na posha vishvavedaha Swasti nastarksho varishtanehi Swasti no brahaspatir dadhatu Om sahana bhavatu Sahano bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Vang me manasi pratishtita Mano me vachi pratishtita Ma vira virma edi vedasya Ma anistha Srutam me ma prahasirane Nadhite nahoratran Sandadhamritam vadishyami Satyam vadishyami Tanmam avatu tad bhaktaram avatu avatu mam avatu bhaktaram avatu bhaktaram. Om apyayantu mamangani vakranaschakshuh श्रोत्रमधुबलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्य मा ब्रह्म निराकरोद निराकरणं मे अस्तु निराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you so much. With the note of Sahana Bhavatu, with this sort of learning gestures. Today's day is starting. We are starting our day, second day, with the international paper presentations, and I am requesting Maharaj Swami Nityayoganandaji to kindly grace the chair. He has kind enough that he has taken up our request to grace this chair. So I am requesting Maharaj to come over the dais. Our support staff to come and felicitate Maharaj. Atithi Devo Bhava. Our intention is that our capability, with our minimum capability, we try to show our respect with some sorts of flower, some scent, and some clothes. And after that, I will start the session, and I will request Maharaj to take charge of this session. And I request first Ma'am Soko Tokuchi to present his paper first time. First, you just introduce yourselves and then you start your paper with the kind consent from the Maharaj.
Good morning, everyone. I'm from Japan, and I'm first student of Pune Savitribai Pune University Master Course in Yoga. And I have done diploma in yoga and certification course of yoga in PRANARAM, Pune, Lonavala. Yes. And I was nurse before in Japan, and I really appreciate for giving me this opportunity, great opportunity to present here. Thank you very much. To show the PPT. So this about yoga in Japan. So this is I'm preparing the Raja Yoga and Zen Buddhism. So how many of you know about Zen Buddhism? Could you tell me about that? Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm also not so a specialist in Zen Buddhism, but through yoga study, I started learn Zen Buddhism. In the introduction, so Patanjali Yoga Sutra is the most significant text in Raja Yoga, and it has origin in rich cultural, in rich Indian culture, and Buddhism also its origin has in India. And but in Zen, it developed in with mix with Japanese culture, and in the Zen, we can find many similar concepts and practice with yoga. So,
Of the Zen method of training, which consists in personally experiencing the truth, whatever this may be, and not appealing to intellection or systemic theorization. Kamakura, Kanagawa Prefecture. For around 7 centuries, it has been the cradle of the Zen religion.
So this is a short introduction of Zen Buddhism. So if we have time, another clip also there. But in this presentation, the content is what is Buddhism and what is Mahayana Buddhism, and Zen, what is Zen Buddhism, and Yoga, Raja Yoga, and Zen Buddhism, its concept, method, and result, and conclusion. But we are in hurry a little bit, so Buddhism is you know already, and Mahayana Buddhism also. The Myanmar friend is there, so today I want to focus on more Zen Buddhism. So Zen Buddhism is one school of Mahayana Buddhism, and it has origin in China in 6th century. And the founder of Buddhism is Bodhidharma. He's a Bodhidharma, and he is from South India, but he explained Zen Buddhism to China. And Zen Buddhism in Japan, it comes from China. And Zen Buddhism is spread in Japan in Kamakura period. It's 12th to 13th century. And it's among the warrior and common people. So he is one of the famous warrior in Japan, and the name is Hojo Tokimune. He's a warrior, and he needs to make the decision in the battlefield. To that, they are using the Zen meditation to calm down the mind. So, and in modern style, the modern era of the Zen Buddhism, so as a modern era, so Venerable Soen Shaku, he had attended the Parliament of the World Religion in 1893, along with Swami Vivekananda ji. And the Venerable Soen Shaku was the first Zen Buddhist master who taught Zen in the United States. So from here on, like Buddhism spread to the world from Japan. And in the video clip also we have seen him. So Daisetsu Seitaro Suzuki is the one of the disciple of the Soen Shaku. He was a great scholar of the Zen Buddhism, and he wrote about 100 books about Zen. And out of 100, 23 books are available in English. These are famous books in Suzuki. So characteristics of Zen Buddhism. So term Zen is derived from Sanskrit word dhyana, but not only the meditation. It's not exactly same as meditation. And all instruction of Zen Buddhism are simply heuristic method to point the true nature of the mind. This true nature of the mind is known as Bodhi's nature, Buddha's nature. And the object of Zen Buddhism is to practice the Zen. And the Zen is the way of the wisdom, so that the way of the wisdom, so we cannot explain in the word. So something beyond the word. And they place the utmost emphasis upon experience. And one of the characteristics, it seeks to complete enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So not only me, like for others, it's considered about others. And what is yoga? We are already seen yesterday, so we skip about that. But in the sense of union, yoga can be understood as an integration of human personality in the whole level of individual. This part is very important. And concept of yoga is in Patanjali Yoga Sutra is the total cessation modification of the mind, and also the method of yoga is well known, Ashtanga Yoga. So we will see this comparison with Ashtanga Yoga and Zen Buddhism. So as yoga is the goal as well as means, the aim of Zen is also to practice of the Zen itself. And the main practice of the Zen we can divide 3 parts: Choshin, Chosoku, and Choshin. So Choshin is a maintained posture. So it's considered as an asana in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. And second, Chosoku is the regulating of the breathing, so pranayama. And Choshin means keep the mind calm, so it can be considered as pratyahara. So we come back to first step of Ashtanga Yoga, Yama Niyama. It's also described in Buddhism as a Panchashila. In Panchashila, 4 out of 5 are same as Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya are same in Panchashila. And one more adding is I observed the reflecting from taking any intoxication or drug. Is the additioning point in Panchashila. And asana. If we have time, we will see the video clip later. So, asana. Patanjali explained about sitting asana and then also gives importance on the sitting posture, especially sitting straight. And then described about Padmasana. And then teaches us to reach everything through alignment. We focus on the alignment. Then by repeating practice, then learning to do it beautifully. First come from the alignment, then we improve the quality of alignment. And pranayama. So Patanjali also talking about pranayama, then also talking about deep and long breath exercise to concentrate for the meditation. And especially they practice diaphragmatic breath and the breath becomes smoother and deeper and slower. And pratyahara. So pratyahara is the withdrawing of sensory organs to calm down the mind. So in Zen Buddhism, we using the direct counting the breath. We use the technique of counting the breath to calm down the mind. Then if our mind is coming down, then we just focus on natural breath, natural flowing of breath. Then naturally go into the pratyahara. And dharana. So Patanjali said Desha Bandha Chittasya Dharanam. So Patanjali described dharana as a binding mind at the one object. As this one object, Zen Buddhism using the ko-an. So ko-an, ko means public, and an means idea, public idea. So this koan is meant to illustrate the insights that the Buddhism teaching point to. So koan has its origin in China, and it's translated as a public case or official record or common idea. So its koan serves as a metaphor for principles for the reality. And collection of koan, this text of koan are available also in English. An example of koan. What is koan? So, for example, the topic is one like, does a dog have a Buddha's nature? And master says no. But in Buddhism, everything has a considered that every being has a Buddha's nature. But teacher said no. Then student have to think what is this meaning. Then student have to present his answer in front of the master. And second, the sound of the one hand. So we clap the hand, then make the sound. But what about one hand? With one hand we can make the sound? This is our question. And student have to answer this question. So student bring back this question to himself and contemplate and meditation upon this question and try to find out the answer in his self-practice. So in this koan practice, the importance of Roshi is a master. Existence of master is very important, and the master guides the student in the right direction. And whatever insight might bring, its verification was always interpersonal. So in effect, enlightenment came to be understood not so much as insight, but as a way of acting in the world with other people. So if the student is enlightened, but we cannot verify it. So only in the interaction with the Roshi and student, then it can be verified. So yesterday, as Dr. Raneshwar told us, it's a manifestation of divinity. It's appearance. And dhyana. So Zen meditation has a variety of meditation techniques, but one of the meditation techniques is known as silent illumination. It's just sitting. So in this meditation technique, one is sitting, just sitting to be aware of totality of phenomena without focusing on a single point. No any single point, just sitting and no thinking, nothing. This is also famous method of Zen meditation. And insight. So insight cannot be explained by word. And koan is using the word and question, but koan also has to be translated eventually. And the result. Samadhi is the last lives of Ashtanga Yoga, and the result of the Samadhi, one of the aim of yoga is the integration of personality. And Zen Buddhism also emphasizes on the idea of human personality. So as a result of liberation, one reaches up to the state of selflessness and urges to uplift on entire humanity. We can see this concept through the 10 birds, like a series of short poems and drawing. And it describes the stage of progress of practitioner towards total enlightenment. There are 10 pictures towards the enlightenment. First picture, in search of the bull. One day a man noticed that his bull, like his ox, had gone and started to search the ox. So he seeks the enlightenment. He wants to seek enlightenment, but he doesn't know what to do. The first step. And second step, discovery of the footprints. He finds the footprint of the ox, and he starts to follow the koan or teaching. He starts following the teachings. And third, perceiving the bird. Like he found the ox. So he found and he tried to catch the ox. So one meet with master and start perceiving the part of the enlightenment. And catching the bird. One catch the bird, finally catch the bird, but the ox tried to escape from him. It's not under the control. And taming the bird. By the practice of Zen, the ox becomes well trained, and he controls over what he gets. And 6, riding the bull to the home. He slowly returned to his home by riding the ox. So he become one with the truth and go back to the home. And the Buddha translated. So he returned the ox to his heart and rest in the state of the blissful statement. And he is aware of the blissful comes from the inside, and he is aware he is about to enlighten. Now he totally forget about ox or something, and he all enjoyed blissful statement and ate. The one and ox are all merged into the nothingness. This is the symbol of Zen Buddhism, like circle. It's about explain about moon, nothingness. This state cannot be explained by any word. This is the state of enlightenment. But it's not finished in this state, and two more steps is there. So 9. Reaching the source. One lives life while seeing everything equally. One realizes enlightenment exists in the world where we live. The same world, but he realized enlightenment is here. And he start come back to society. One again start to live in the social, and he start uplift people around him, like him. And it's a state of bodhisattva in the Buddhism. Like Dalai Lama is this state. So in the conclusion, in the Zen Buddhism we can find many yogic concepts and practice. And the main practice of Zen is a meditation, maybe in just sitting or koan. But it contains the concept of moral conduct, posture, regulating breath, calm down the mind, concentrate on one point. These yogic practices are there in Zen. So Zen is considered as a Japanese form of Raja Yoga. So, and the practice of Zen and yoga can transform our personality in our day-to-day life, and it enhance our human excellence. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening.
From Japan for excellent presentation. It is a Zen and the relation with Patanjali Yoga. Very beautifully. Please sit down. Please sit down. So very beautifully you have presented the Zen meditation, and the key points you have focused on that. And one Thich Nhat Hanh, probably he is the greatest Zen master now. And the Zen came from the word dhyana. Dhyana, Bodhidharma took this to China. So dhyana became Chan in Chinese language, and Chan becomes Zen when it entered Japan. So that is the sequence. So there is not much difference if we practice really, only terminologies vary. Like she talked about Shunya, the same Shunya can be expressed as our own inner soul realization, because that is why even after Shunya, Mu, he reaches the source. After Shunya also there is something, reaches the source, then comes back to society and uplifts human being, and he is called the Bodhisattva. So very excellent presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you again for Sokatukuchi. Next, I am calling here is Nam Thanh Giang. He is from Vietnam, and the subject of the paper is Theravada Buddhist Meditation Practice in Southeast Asia. Please, I am welcoming Nam Thanh Giang in the podium.
Good evening, everyone. I am from Vietnam. My name is Zhang. I'm studying research school, Viswabharati University. My department, philosophy and religion in Santiniketan. Today I want to talk my typical Theravada Buddhism meditation practice in South Asia. This is a great lesson with yoga and Buddhism. Indeed, interest to some enter the concept of yoga that it is potent difference from the spirit of Buddha and life is life. My paper in life different here. I will talk here about the comparison of Buddhism with its various roles and aspects. Buddhism was originated from India that was founded by the Buddha Siddhartha Gautama. In 6th century BC, Buddhism was formed and development there for hundreds of years. Before being transmitted to Asian countries and traveled in the West, although Buddhism had experienced many ups and downs of change, but it had quality development in mind and here. Of thousands of Buddhists follow in the many countries. The paper analyzed the origin of Buddhism in this home island, India, and the way of the transmit from Theravada Buddhism from India to South Asia. The same as Ceylon, Sri Lanka, Puma, Malaysia, Myanmar, Siam, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Malaysia, Indonesia, and South Vietnam. This cable Theravada Buddhism South Asian country Buddhism follow introduction. Buddhism, a religion which was founded over 2,500 years ago, and power mind and the religion country and man. The religion man of origin the elect is certain in the ministry in the beginning the founder, the Buddha nature idea in the this life preacher. The Buddha is the case in the enlightenment one of the awakened one who has awakened that the sign to be one now. In the present time, Buddhism consider or the world religion without the Buddha. In the recent teaching, Siddhartha Gautama Buddha, later now Buddha, was born in the prince in the Lumpini in the present time Nepal. He got enlightenment at the age of the 35 years. Under Bodhi tree at the Bodh Gaya in the on 6th century BC, now in state of Bihar, India. South of the Crete, the ultimate church, he left Bodh Gaya and stayed his choice for the Philippines of the order. Typically, he turned we of Dhamma a dear park Varanasi nowadays. For continued 45 years, let's trace at Kusinara at the age of the 80 year. He passed away among thousands of his description from all social classes. Buddhist mentioned by Asoka the Christ. After Buddha passed away about 300 years come to time of Asoka, the third return of the India modern empires who lived from 304 to 233 BC. During the time he propagates Buddhism in origin. The third Buddhist consul suffering the monks erected the Asoka's pillars, building monastery and as 8400 stupa was built by his order, and a very important comment he had made that after the development of the Buddhism to this, there was to preach Buddhism to Sri Lanka by his son Mahenda and daughter Sankhamita. Buddhism outside India. The third Buddhist was an important landmark in the history of Buddhism. It was for the first time Buddhism taught it went to foreigner countries. Buddhism arose in India about 6th century BC and some place with horror in the religion history of that country. According to the Buddhist tradition, by the 3rd century BC, the Buddhist mission carrying by two monks Sonatera and Ottaratera we sent towards away from its homeland South Asia by Import Asoka. Buddhism underwent many historical changes in India. The Mahayan reception the Theravada as the merchant school of Buddhism from about 1st century AD. Unfortunately, by the 7th century AD, Buddhism was no longer dynamic. Post India, the Theravada school had a go disciples. Theravadism and priests from India to South Asia by 3rd century BC, but from 11 to 18th country AD become rapid in the 3rd country. This is the Buddhist social where in India after Buddha passed away. Very important to the Buddha literature and one another with head in Kashmir in the time of King Kasika. But it was not accepted by the Theravada tradition. Later on the way also some Buddhist culture. What happened outside India was also country to domination of Buddhism outside India. Buddhism in South Asia. South Asia was also called as Suvarnabhumi. In the appropriate sense of the term comprised the air of China and air of India. The word Cambodia, widely called when a Lord Church, Mountbatten involved in the World War II as a commander. Politically, the region included the mainland state of Ceylon, Sri Lanka, Burma, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, North and South Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia. The Theravada Buddhism later became to dominate faith in the South Asia. First, I want to talk to Buddhism, Theravada Buddhism in Sri Lanka. Theravada Buddhism come to Ceylon by the Buddhist mission sent by Emperor Asoka. His son Thera Mahinda, who was for the people sent to Ceylon to spread the Buddhism in this modern and was successful on the mission according to tradition. To Mahavamsa and other Ceylonese tradition, Buddhist culture were happier. The second, Theravada Buddhism in Myanmar. Myanmar, the previous name was Puma. It one of the major countries following Theravada Buddhism. The Theravada Buddhism and Bali language of Theravada Buddhism had been accepted and practiced among the Myanmar people from beginning till talk, and the point of Buddha is always singing in the ears of the people. Continued for about 5 months in the royal place, and the recording had been won. The thus Theravada Buddhism in Thailand Asian. Theravada Thailand Siam, the land of yellow roll with the first group of Buddhist merchants was sent to Suvarnabhumi with Sonate and Uttarate after third Buddhist culture. present Dani, Niwat, and upper that identity of the locality with Thailand. The same is based in their claim on the intensive acro- ecological pipe on the side of the Anso city on the side of Nakopathom. According to Santiwasa, there was many and the nine Buddhist sources of the ninth Koso, the 40 were have in India, the 4, the 5, 6, the 4, the 5, 6, and 7 in Ceylon, and Ceylon 8, 9, and in Thailand. The Theravada Buddhism come to Thailand and have been continued development in living of Thailand people even now. Theravada Buddhism in Laos. The kingdom of Laos emerged from region of comparison of Thai and Laos states in the 14th century AD. As in Puma and Thailand, Laotian king is the Protist Buddhism in Laos Pagum. Protevra Buddhism with him from Cambodia. He was the Lao prince who has in the east side at the Cambodia. He was the fourth floor in of Theravada Buddhism in Laos. His countryside conquest continues unlimited till 1373 when he was forced the etiquette by his one minister who tied up the prologue was and confessed rose against him. Theravada Buddhism Malaysia. The ancient history of the Malaysia state is poor with rice and poor of just oil. An important Indonesian empire as Sri Wijaya and Machapsit. From the 15th century Islam, state making in Trot, Malacca, and many other neighbor states. The early India was generous powers of Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu, all propolis of Theravada Buddhism. Trace of the dam dating back to 4th century AD had been found in recent times as far as Borneo and Cambodia. Theravada Buddhism in Cambodia or Khmer. Theravada Buddhism in Cambodia. Cambodia is what remains of the one splendid Khmer Empire. At the 9th of the power during the 11th, 12th, and 13th century, the Khmer king formed their capital at Angkor Wat. On the plan of a Siem Reap, route the west across on the South Asian with today, had consumed by part of Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, and north of the Malaysia Peninsula. The fort of Cambodia was Punon in the 1st century AD, and it's come to end by the fall of Angkor Wat in 1431. Theravada Buddhism was event to Cambodia at end of 12th century AD. It is said that in Empire it had its greatest closely during rise of the Chawaraman VII, but the plurality of the priesthood and the profession Chawaraman VII involves temple control and building Angkor Wat. The Theravada Buddhism in Vietnam, all Annam. Buddhism had met in here was in Cambodia along the coastal plains of central Vietnam and the two southwards beyond Champa. As a very is that it is said that his story Chinese generals and carry away 1,330 Buddhists walking from Champa. Mahayana Buddhism played in an important part in the life of the coast and the people, and the 20th century Vietnamese look back to the 11th and 12th centuries and golden age of their religion. Most of Vietnam people practice Mahayana Buddhism nowadays in order over the country, but apart from that, in the religion of Southwest country, there is the part of Khmer people in Vietnam who follow Theravada Buddhism from generation to generation. But all country practice Buddhism have Samatha and Vipassana Kamathana. Myanmar practice Vipassana Kamathana, and Thailand, Laos, and Cambodia practice Samatha Vipassana Kamathana. All the people practice Samatha Kamathana, and Vietnam, South Vietnam, and North Vietnam practice Vipassana Kamathana. This conclusion, it is possible to conclude the Hinayana of Theravada Buddhism came to Savanapumi in the 3rd century BC. Theravada was the Buddhist form which was accepted by the 3rd Buddhist council in the time of great King Asoka. Eventually, Buddhism died out in its homeland some after Asoka died, but the remained popular in the Himalayas, just and Sikkim, Ladakh, Arunachal Pradesh, Darjeeling, Himachal Pradesh, and Andhra Pradesh in India, and it is Nepal, Southeast country, and Sri Lanka, Burma, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Malaysia, Indonesia, and South Vietnam. Thank you so much.
So Nguyen Kang Jiang has presented on Theravada Buddhist meditation practice in Southeast Asia, and he has given an elaborate historical background how Buddhism reached there. And first Theravada reached, then later on Mahayana. Theravada means, Thera means old. The old form of Buddhism is called Theravadins. So first it was taken, and he has started from Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, then Vietnam, Indonesia, and all the Southeast countries. He has described how Buddhism spread there. And he also mentioned how nowadays Mahayana practice is more observed there, though Theravada went there much earlier in during the period of Ashoka, started from Sri Lanka. So now it is practiced. Then he mentioned Sona Thera and Otara Thera, two monks who were prominent in Theravada Buddhism there. And by this he has concluded the practice of both. He has mentioned both Theravadins and Mahayana both, and Theravadins in otherwise called Hinayana also. So this way he has presented his paper. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again to Nguyen Phang Giang from Vietnam to participate here and giving us the lectures here. And now I will request Mr. Panna Shera from Myanmar, and his topic is Yoga and Buddhism. Mr. Panna Shera, please.
Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Paul. Everybody call it PRANARAM. I'm the research scholar of the Vishwakarati University, Bogpur, Shantiniketan. And today I would like to presentation. My topic name is Yoga and Buddhism. I'm not the scholar of the yoga, being I'm the research scholar of the different tradition. But I'm trying here to highlight the yoga and Buddhism. What is the difference? What is the similarity? Yoga and Buddhism are philosophical systems as well as carefully articulated paths that share content and centrality of moral discipline and development to the spiritual path, the liberation through the cultivation of the virtue and ultimately spiritual liberation. In both traditions, self-transcendence in the terms of the progresses overcoming all egoism is thought to be the necessary condition. For both schools, ego forms of psychology functioning are mutually linked to the development of central virtue, such as non-violence, contentment, compassion, equanimity. The fundamental terms of self-discipline, mindfulness, concentration, and being in the present and introduced in Buddhist philosophy that help us transcend karma and rebirth and realize the truth of consciousness. Buddhism is essentially a religion of the mind rather than the spirit. It is grounded in reality, and its practice and solutions are verifiable and repeatable. The main foundation upon which Buddha became enlightened was the combination of Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga means the physical practice, and Raja Yoga philosophy. The Buddha himself was a great yogi, disseminating yogi's teaching for 45 years. In Pali, Buddha means the wicked passes to become aware. Through his inner silence, meditation, and contemplation, Buddha discovered the Four Noble Truths, which serve as diagnosis and prescription for the human condition of spiritual bondage, samsara. The first, the noble tree suffering, or dissatisfaction, or mental and physical pain that arise from the impermanence. All of things and our maladaptive habitual fundament. Second, the case of suffering are free, aversion, and delusion. That is suffering case find cultivating generously, kindness, and wisdom. Four is the Four Noble Truths of the enlightened Eightfold Path liberation, which is organized into the three domains of wisdom, ethics, and meditation. Here, wisdom is comprised of right view and right intention. Right view talks on impermanence, suffering, and subnexus. Where right intention involves in contentment to act harmlessly, without ill will. Ethics comprised of right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Lastly, meditation comprised of right mindfulness and right concentration. In Buddhist philosophy, as an unconditioned reality, nirvana is said to be beyond birth and death, and beyond the fluctuating happiness and suffering of our samsara experience. Where conditioned phenomena are impermanent, the unconditioned is deathless. Yoga essentially is a Hindu tradition which is rooted in the Veda, ritually symbolism, and internalization. Yoga has its root in Sanskrit, which is defined as union, yogi, method, effort, and meditation. In this case of union, divine energy and individual energy would merge together, which produce no longer a sense of separation. Approximately 300 or 400 years after the Buddha's Patanjali compiled the philosophy of yoga and wrote the Yoga Sutra based on the principle of the contemplation. Patanjali was the compliant. He borrowed many teachings from the Buddha and other great saints. This was the first time in all of the yogic traditions history that he made available the thought and secret of mind through systemized study of human psychology and physics. Here, the mind is constituted by the integrated functioning of intelligence, ego, and other forms of mentation. Careful attention to the body, breath, sound, and mind is to be required to achieve liberation from spiritual bondage for the recognition of oneself as pure consciousness, samadhi. Samadhi is state of being totally aware of the present moment. If one pointless of mind and carries one being, sent and flipping open the door of enlightenment. In case of Yoga Sutra, egoities that rise from ignorance is the ultimately false identification of the body-mind as such. As the I am, it is within the ego's framework that the individual is motivated to the pursuit pleasure, avoid pain, and survive. The pursuit and experience of pleasure gives rise to attachment, while the avoidance or experience of pain gives rise to the aversion. Clinging to the lie involves a deeply rooted fear of morality. Attachment, aversion, and clinging to the lie. Then are psychological patterns that inevitably leads to the suffering spiritual bondage. In Patanjali Yogas, the first 5 of the 8 limbs, moral restraint, yama, moral observing, niyama, posture, asana, breath control, pranayama, and sensory withdrawal, pratyahara, yes, spelling, because pronunciation wrong. Are called the outer limb, Bariringa, because they concern a practitioner, visits orientation to the social world and to the sun. And among these outer limbs, yama and niyama provide the moral foundation of all practice and development. The yama limb is such divided into the restraint of non-harming, truthfulness, non-stealing, sexual restraint, and non-greed. The niyama limb is such divided purity of cleanness, containment, self-discipline, self-study, and devotion to the divine. Practice of niyama. Then, in both the primary self-directed cultivation of trend and habit contributed to the traveling to the spiritual path. Patanjali also remarks that faith, innate mindfulness, contemplation, and wisdom from the path to the realization of true self. In contrast of Patanjali Yoga, classical Buddhist thinkers were propounded Anattavada, the view of non-self. There are 3 paradigmatic features of the Buddhism and the realism. About the self, first is the rejection of the permanent existence of the self is substance. They are casually and functionally integrated psychological process, but there is no self as essential. Second is the denial that the sense of self is a necessary and invariant feature of experience. Third is the view that the sense of self, no matter how natural it seems, necessarily involves some kind of corrupt illusion and distortion. Rejecting the existence of the substantial self. The Buddhas argue the existence of a person consists in the existence of the 5 skandhas, boundless of aggregate, organized in the right way. The 5 skandhas are material form, effect, perception, and conditionings and violation and consciousness. The skandhas are not to be taken in dependent things, but instead are same and interdependent aspect of the casually and functionally integrated psychophysical system, and that has no permanent self at its center. Rather, it is complex process ultimately composed of ephemeral physical and mental events. The fundamental motivation for anti-realism about the self is deeper. As the discussed on the Buddhist analysis, our innate tendencies towards affective and contagious distortions such as craving and attachment drive to the vicious samsara cycle of the frustration, suffering, and alienation. The root cause of this distortion is the innate tendency of refine self and work. This deep state self corresponds the parallel to yogi idea of the asmita of equity. The path to liberation must involve disconstruction and overcoming the view of the self that is the basis of samsara. One coupled with the internalized wisdom of selfness, the meditation can serve as a way to be disconstruct any sense of the ontological separation between self and other. According to the classical Abhidhamma, the cultivation of mindfulness and the related quality of heedfulness and insight. Yet, a profound transformation in such experience from the sense of being phase self to a selfless flow of experience. The main difference between the two systems are over their cosmic view and way of the practice. In yoga, the practitioners overcome the false identification of the self with the body mind and realize the primordial purity, joy, and freedom of a self-pure consciousness. In the case of Buddhism, overcoming mistaken identity involves a recognition that all notions of self are ultimately false constructions, that one transcends the false sense of self and realize a truly self-moved being. The great joy and peace of Nirvana is said to be literally beyond all construction of self. Thank you very much.